I just want to say thank you to everyone speaking at, organizing, or attending this conference, and thank you to the people who lead this conversation of what it means to be a man. It's appreciated by me and my kids as a parent. It is so unbelievably refreshing to hear people talk about this. In many ways, being a parent is exceptionally difficult. It's tough to ask your child 13 times in 60 seconds to put on their mitts. It's hard to not take it personally when they tell you they don't love you. It's hard to clean up the living room at the end of every day, and it is also hard to leave that very same room messy. In many ways, though, being a parent can be exceptionally simple. Giving our kids autonomy over their bodies is one of these ways, and listening to them when they say no to us, or being on their side when they say no to giving a hug to a family member or friend. We don't have to make things so complicated. We just have to recognize the important role we play in the lives of our children and in the lives of the children who spend time around our children. So what kind of role does a dad with a major in English literature have in shifting the idea of what it means to be a man? Well, it's pretty common to see dads, and very much so dads who didn't grow up with sisters, express that they didn't know how bad it was for women until I had daughters. Or that we talk about violence against women in the context of, imagine that was your mother or your partner. This kind of awakening can be useful. Men do need to see that no, things are not the same for women as they are for men. But we need to know and acknowledge this way earlier. We need to talk to our boys and our girls about consent from an early age. We need to make sure they understand they always have the option to say no, and that they also have the responsibility of stopping what they're doing when someone else says no. And I think most importantly, we need to know that it's us who set the example for them. As a dad, I consider this one of the biggest roles and one of my biggest opportunities to make an impact in the lives of my kids. So when they say no, I listen. I need to make sure my kids know their voice is the most important one there is when it comes to decisions about their bodies. There are a few things I keep reminding myself of my role as dad, and these are simple things I think all parents can apply to life. I try to remind myself of these things as often as I need to. I do it when I'm doing a terrible job of raising my kids and when I think I'm doing a good job. Parents don't have to be the experts in sexual health education. Those experts already exist. I know experts speaking at this conference who do this work every day. As parents, we need to be experts in teaching our kids what those experts have already learned. I'm a dad with a really smart partner, and my biggest asset as a parent is being open to change when something I do might not be what is best for my kids. We can't get so upset when someone suggests that what we're doing for our kids might not be the best idea, and we need to understand that what we teach our kids affects more than just them. 6 nights out of 7, our oldest daughter will fall asleep with a book on her chest. The book itself changes often. Sometimes she reads the same books about animals that I used to read when I was a kid, and sometimes she reads stories that she's helped write herself. Her mind at this point is incredibly fertile, and it's an amazing privilege for us as parents to be able to watch the many plants start to grow in her amazing mind. But it's also terrifying how easy it is for seeds we didn't plant to take root. For every I learned to read all on my own, she says, there's a that's just for boys or that's just for girls. I've spent a lot of time thinking about how I can raise girls to believe they're as strong as I know they are. I've learned that there's no single way to do this, and it will often feel like everything you do as a parent is a failure. But I found there's a number of small things that dads can do to raise strong kids. And it's important to remember that these things aren't the things our kids need to do. These are things that we as dads and parents need to do. On their own, my 2 kids are brilliant. What I share with them as they grow can either help them and those around them or hurt them. So protect them with knowledge, not with muscles or guns. If we want to protect our kids, let's make sure we teach them from an early age about consent, teach them that they make decisions about their own bodies, teach them about body and sex positivity. Answer their questions when they have them instead of letting them find out online or from a friend. Threatening prom dates with violence doesn't empower kids to voice consent or teach their date about consent. It only teaches their date to fear consequences and teaches our kids that we see them as property to protect. And stop with blonde jokes and sexist talk everywhere. This sounds so straightforward, and you probably think it's simple to do, but when you're in a group with your buddies at a bar and someone lobs a blonde joke across the table, it's easier to laugh it off and think to yourself, well, I don't think that way, so I'm in the clear. But I don't want to have to tell my buddy he's being an idiot. That doesn't do anything for anyone else. Say something, even if it's as simple as, that kind of joke isn't funny. If you're pushed beyond it, say it again. because it isn't funny. It's misogyny, it's sexism. It has no place in front of your daughter, and it has no place in front of your son, and it has no place at a bar at midnight. Don't believe there are things daughters can only hear from a female. There may be things that you don't experience, menstruation, shopping for bras, etc., but that doesn't mean you can't learn about these things and be confident enough to answer questions from your daughter without making them feel like these are taboo topics or things they should only feel comfortable talking about with certain people. They aren't. Fight sexist crap together. When you're walking down the toy aisle trying to find a Black Widow toy for your daughter, but notice she's the only one missing from the Avengers toy lineup, don't shrug it off and tell her, oh well, that's what happens sometimes. Tell her it's not okay, and then tell more people it's not okay. If she comes home and tells you she was told she wasn't allowed to do something because she's a girl, find out why, and fight it if it needs fighting. Fight her being told she needs to cover up at school because her outfit is a distraction to the boys in her school. Fight for her right to choose what she can and cannot do with her body. Fight together. Parenting is hard, but standing with your kids, teaching them that they have a voice, and helping them advocate for themselves and for others is as simple as it gets. Thanks again.